The main event at UFC Fight Night Rio in 3 weeks' time on October 11th was supposed to be Charles Oliveira versus Rafael Fiziev, but that fight won't be happening because Fiziev is injured out of that fight, so Charles Oliveira needs a new opponent. Some think Arman Tsarukyan should rematch Charles Oliveira. They fought in 2024. Arman took a decision. Hanato Money Moicano wants to fight Charles Oliveira. Mateusz Gamrot wants to fight Charles Oliveira. I'm ready and hungry to jump in. Come on, UFC. But there's another lightweight who might be getting the shot against Oliveira. The latest rumor is it's Benoit Saint-Denis, which would be interesting. That's number 13 and 4 in the lightweight division. A 9 slot gap between the two. Saint-Denis coming off an impressive win over Mauricio Rufy. If in fact he is fighting him, he kind of manifested this because after the win over Rufy, he said he wanted to get back in that cage ASAP. He'd even take a short notice fight if one of Oliveira or Fiziev dropped out of that fight, and that did happen.
It's giving me, and I will accept any opportunities the UFC is giving me to fight somebody inside the top 10. And as soon as possible, I get that opportunity. I'm ready to step up, and I'm even looking at Fiziev on Oliveira. So if somebody gets injured. I do really believe I'm back to the version I want to fight as much and win as much as possible. And I'm looking for opportunities. Let's see what the UFC is going to offer me.
It's definitely a tough task taking on a guy like Charles Oliveira on 3 weeks' notice, but Benoit Saint-Denis is up for it. He's willing to do it. Oliveira will have the advantage in the striking, advantage on the ground. Saint-Denis may look to replicate what Arman Tsarukyan did against Oliveira to get that decision win. Maybe try and replicate that wrestling and grappling strategy. Maybe try and use his cardio over the course of a 5-round fight. It would be a huge victory for Saint-Denis if he could get the win. He's a guy, he gets good opportunities. Like, he was 13 in the rankings around that when he took on Poirier, who was number 2. Now he has a huge opportunity here. He got KO'd against Poirier, but now it's a similar situation with Oliveira, number 13 versus number 4. Another chance to break into the top 5 if he can get the win as an underdog in hostile territory in Rio. That's a bit of a look of how the White House card in June is going to look. No more than 5,000 people will be at attendance there, but at the South Park, they'll have screens where there'll be many thousands of people watching.
Literally one day he asked me, he loves the White House. He's so proud of the White House, and he wants to bring, the American people back to the White House with lots of different events. And he said, "How'd you like to do a fight at the White House?" And you didn't have to ask me twice. I was in. It's going to be under 5,000 people. It depends on how much the lawn can hold. As far as weight, the octagon itself weighs 15,000 pounds. So we don't know. We're still working it out. And my vision for this thing is we have this big arch, as you can see, with the lighting grid, because what I want is the White House on the back. And then when you shoot, when the fight goes around to the other side, you'll see the Washington Monument. At first he put Ivanka in charge of handling this thing and putting it together. And when we sent the plans over to Ivanka, she said, "Dana, you do not mess around." We can fit 85,000 people over there. We're going to have a stage where music, we'll have bands playing all day, and then people will be able to bring blankets and, lay around and watch the fights. We'll have screens up everywhere for everybody. We're literally going to take over Washington, D.C. that week. We're going to do the weigh-ins there. We're going to have fan events.
At the Lincoln Memorial.
That's what we're talking about, yeah. And we'll have fan events all week. We're going to do our expo there and just a total Washington, D.C. takeover. I love one-of-one type events like we did at the Sphere last year for UFC Noche. And this is a one-of-one incredible opportunity, not only for the fans, for the sport, but for the fighters to be able to be a part of something like this. It's incredible. And then for the fans, to come to Washington, D.C. all week and go to these historic places and be able to, enjoy UFC and, all the history that DC has, it's a one-of-one experience.
Conor McGregor says he'll be on that card. He wants to fight Michael Chandler, so Michael Chandler is once again going to get roped into this wild goose chase with Conor McGregor. Maybe the fight happens, maybe it doesn't, but if Conor wants to do it, he says at least.
Now, does Conor McGregor want to be a part of that?
I'm on it.
You're on it?
I'm on it.
Who are you fighting?
I am. This is me. Michael Chandler and myself have done the show, The Ultimate Fighter. We've had a good back and forth. He's a good, tough guy. And, the Mac is excited to get back for sure.
So McGregor, you got big names coming back?
Yeah, we'll build the greatest card of all time for the White House fight. And Conor and I have been talking consistently. He wants this fight bad. And when you get to a level that Conor's at, you got to find things in life that motivate you. And the White House card has definitely motivated Conor McGregor.
Michael Chandler would like to headline that White House card against Conor McGregor. That'd be a terrible headlining fight. It'd be an entertaining fight, but a horrible headlining fight. But that's what Chandler wants. Conor, we've been down this road again. Conor stringing Michael Chandler along for this fight, and Chandler is going on that ride again.
Yeah, one thing is for sure, expect the unexpected. When you got Dana White and Donald Trump, you got their brains behind it, their promotional brains behind it. Man, expect the unexpected. Nothing is impossible for these gentlemen. It's going to be a one-of-one type of show. Obviously, as we heard Conor earlier, that is the fight to make. Conor and I, we have some history. We did The Ultimate Fighter 12 weeks on ESPN. I'm the opponent that he wants. He's the opponent that I want, and it seems like that's a heck of a main event for the UFC White House. And just to see as the sport grows that we're talking about a fight at the White House, it's absolutely spectacular. What Dana White has done with the UFC over the last 32, 33 years is absolutely amazing. I'm very blessed to be a part of it, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Expect this to be your biggest fight.
I do. You know, this has all of the ingredients needed for the biggest fight in UFC history. You've got Conor McGregor and myself, two huge stars in the UFC. We've got history. There is a build-up to this fight, and now you're talking about 250 years of this great nation of ours, America's birthday, the celebration near July 4th at the White House. Like we said, this will never, ever be done before. Never did we ever think this would even be possible, and here we are talking about it. Every time I talk to somebody about it, whether they have heard about it, they are absolutely ecstatic about it, or they haven't heard about it, and they think I'm lying to them, Laura. It's absolutely nuts. And you look at the renderings. Have you seen the renderings? It's absolutely amazing.
Roger Jackson was arrested but bonded out at $50K bail. Sean Strickland says Jackson got charged with 1 felony and $50K bail. That must be nice. There's two types of people in the system. One, I have to do 100 days community service and pay money. Nah, F that. I'll go to county. Or two, I'll pay the money. I'll feed the homeless, watch police cars, whatever. I don't want my life to stop. There is no hope for number one. Strickland says he was number two. I stopped going to work release. Going to jail is easy. Having to pay a ton of money while always having to spend every weekend feeding homeless for years just so you can have a job and pay taxes. Meanwhile, any FF can go straight to jail, but he's undercharged. Strickland thinks that Roger Jackson will plead down to assault and battery and do 50 days of community service. LOL, must be real nice. Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis is going to be an exhibition match with larger gloves, according to Florida Athletic Commission Director Timothy Shipman. You can't do a fight like that as a pro fight, he says. It'll be an exhibition. I'm looking for details right now. I'm sure there'll be other stipulations. According to Florida statutes, they will display skill without necessarily striving to win using strikes or blows to the head or other full contact maneuvers. Pantoja thinks Charles Oliveira should be at 170. Dropping to 155 makes him more susceptible to KOs.